for a mid-season finale, the present was definitely a letdown. The Flash Season 3, Episode 9 had its perks, it had its good qualities about it. But in all reality, the season the Flash has been struggling, and the present really shows every single thing it's been struggling with. It tries to cover up the fact that Savitar is an underdeveloped villain. It tries to cover up the fact that Julian hasn't gotten enough screen time for us to care about him on a deeper level, even though Tom Felton does a great job with the material he is given. I mean, this whole episode, it doesn't do the course correction that I expected, and it doesn't even do what it does in a spectacular way. Honestly, this is the biggest mid-season finale letdown of The Flash that we've had thus far. So the premise behind this episode is Barry goes to get Jay Garrick to help him fight Savitar. They fight Savitar and, of course, figure out Julian is Dr. Alchemy. And they bring Julian in, and they realize that Julian had no control over his ability to be Alchemy, and that it was Savitar getting in his head, and he'd gotten into his head for years. And then after that, they speak to Savitar through Julian, and after that, they throw basically that Philosopher's Stone into the time portal, and Barry sees his future. He comes back, they all have a Merry Christmas, and that's the end of the episode. This episode was such a disappointment on so many levels. Okay, let's talk about the perks. You got to see Mark Hamill's Trickster again. Okay, that's cool for the 0.5 seconds we saw him. You get to see Jay Garrick come back. John Wesley Shipp does a great job playing Jay Garrick from Earth 3 in this episode. He's probably the highlight of this episode. But then you have the whole Cisco Ramon's brothers dead conflict that they've stretched out throughout the whole entire half of this season, first half of this season, and it just doesn't connect with me anymore. And I feel like for a lot of years it doesn't connect. It's like we realize, okay, Cisco's dealing with the grief of his brother, but it's like so stretched out, and then they make that the reason that he opens the box because his brother can come back. Well, yeah, that's tantalizing to bring your brother back, but at the same time, Cisco knows better. Cisco's smart. He's been around metahumans and people with magic for a long time. You think he'd realize that opening the box would not be a good thing. And so that whole contrived plot, it just ruined the episode for me. It was one of the many things that ruined the episode. Another thing is there wasn't very much action. What did we see? We got to watch Jay Garrick get beat up by Savitar, and we got to see Barry throw a box into a portal. And the fight with Alchemy was so underwhelming. I mean, he took out Julian in like 0.5 seconds. And then Iris, of course, and Joe are having that irrational thought, those irrational thoughts about, oh, Wally can't be a speedster, when clearly Wally's proven himself over and over again. I'm tired of the Flash having these plots that are just, okay, we got it. We got that you don't want Wally to be a speedster. We should have moved on from that plot multiple episodes ago. We got that Julian was Alchemy. We knew that from almost the first time we saw Alchemy on screen and the first time we saw Julian on screen. Let's, move past it. Savitar is such an underwhelming villain, too. It was just, this episode brought out everything that was wrong with the season of The Flash. And, it may have put everything together in a nice way and sort of tried to make it look presentable. But honestly, the present was a polished turd. I really didn't like this episode of The Flash. I absolutely did not like the episode of Flash. I was waiting for something big to happen, like a big fight. Like, I remember in Season 2 of The Flash, all the fights between Zoom and Barry. I believe the mid-season finale, if I'm not wrong, was a fight between Zoom and Barry, in which Zoom just completely destroyed him. I'm not afraid of Savitar at all. He's a guy you can throw a box into a portal and lose him. Unless this box is... How am I supposed to be terrified of that? It's like the Flash writing room is trying to make an edgier version of Zoom. And maybe this is me going on a rant, but I should go on a rant because the present was not a good episode of The Flash. And there's no excuse for the writers of this episode and the writers of Season 3 to be this sloppy. I mean, they're just running out of things to talk about, clearly, because they're just reusing the same plot points every week. And the worst of them, of course, has to be the Cisco plot. I mean, Carlos Valdez did his best job portraying, Cisco's emotion. I'm not criticizing the actors for this episode at all. I'm criticizing the writers because honestly, all the actors played their hearts out and they did the best with the material they got. Like, I did feel for Julian a little bit by the end of this episode because Tom Felton did a great job playing him. But honestly, this show's writers need to get on track. Out of the 3 shows, this show's been the biggest letdown for Season 3, and the present is not a good episode of The Flash. There's no way you can spin it to make it seem like a good episode, and yet reviewers across the board are praising this episode. But honestly, I can't. There's no repercussions. There's no big fight scenes. It was a letdown. The high score I could justifiably give this episode is like a 6.5. It was not good. So I'd give The Present, Season 3, Episode 9 of The Flash a 6.5 out of 10. And in the end, I apologize if this review seemed overly negative or it seemed nitpicky, but I really enjoy The Flash and I want to see it at its best, and I think it could be doing so much better right now. If you like this episode, remember to comment below your thoughts and remember to give this video a like.